Hey there guys, my mates over at Retevis have a spring sale on at the moment on Amazon on a lot of their amateur radio and other radio products. So today we're going to have a look at some of the deals that are available. Now all of these are on Amazon.com, the US version of Amazon. I do appreciate it if you use the links in the description below. They don't change the price for you, but they do help with the ongoing support of the channel. So the first prime spring deal is the Retevis HA1UV. I reviewed this not that long ago, maybe about a month ago or so on the channel. It's actually a very good, rugged, dual band handheld radio. Here's mine in the box right here. It's a nice, rugged type of feel radio. IP67 as well. USB-C charging, quite a large battery pack in it too. I just like it for the ruggedness. This radio is very much built like a tank. The one other thing that I really enjoyed about it too was the fact that it was really easy to be able to program and use straight from the front panel, rather than having to program via software, which you could still do because Retevis provide the software that you can use to program this. You can just punch in the frequency data that you might have, that you might have got off Repeater Book or something like that, and you can get it going pretty easily. The menu system, reasonably intuitive for a Chinese radio, but they're a great little unit. So check out my review if you want to see more information about it. IP67 is also something that's really good. You can drop it. I know that Retevis actually did a live stream with a couple of the other YouTubers, and they sat it, I think, in a bucket of water for like half an hour, and they were using it for after that, which was really good. So big battery. It's got the NOAA emergency channels and all that other stuff as well. Now you can get this for $50, I think it was $51 here, which is the single pack. Or alternatively, you can also get the dual pack, which is just ever so slightly cheaper, $99 basically for the two radios there. Now, you can also get another option, which is the same radio, but it comes, I think, the only difference with a different antenna here, which is different from the stock antenna, for $58 for the single pack compared to $50. So whether you want to pay $8 for the extra antenna, I like to get the little Nagoya NA771 antennas. They're a great little antenna to replace on your stock antenna. But good little radio, the HA1UV. The next deal is still one of my personal favorites. This is the Retevis RT95. I did a review on this radio. It's probably going back a good over 12 months ago now, probably 18 months ago. This is a little mobile radio which you can either use at home as a base station radio with a bit more power than your handheld, but primarily it's a mobile radio for installing in the car. You can program it with chirp. You can flip the screen upside down, so it's got versatile mounting. It does 25 watts on 2 meters and 70 centimeters. FM only. It's got great audio. The speaker mic, it's got a speaker in the microphone as well, so you can either use the speaker in the radio or speaker in the microphone. Audio, sounds really great. Easy to program, easy to use. Customizable buttons as well for all of your functions on here. These are a great, 25 watts, 15 watts, or 5 watts. They run off 12 volts. They've got all of, pretty much everything you need for a starter mobile radio. And this one is on special. These are usually, $125 down to $88. So a great deal for that. You can also get it with the antenna as well. I'm not sure if that's on a deal. That is on a deal as well with the little mag-based whip antenna for $114. But the RT95, if you want to learn more about this radio, then I encourage you to go back and have a look on my channel. I've done a review on the RT95. I thought it was great radio. It was really good for the price. For $88, you're paying $50 for a handheld. You get 5 watts out of that. Maybe you want something just a little bit more, and you can run this at home. The only thing was the scanning was a little bit slow. So if you want to be able to scan through different channels, that is a little bit slow, but that's not for everyone. I mean, I usually just leave mine on a repeater and have a listen to that. So nice looking S meter on it as well. It's got a nice color bar graph. I don't think any of these stock photos actually show that, but if you have a look in my review, you'll see that those features are pretty nice. So a very good deal on special. And as an alternative dual band mobile radio, the Retevis RT25. These are, I think, essentially a port over from a GMRS version of this. A lot of people have used these and they say they're awesome as well. I haven't had any experience personally with this particular version. Comparing it to the RT95 would be interesting. Let's have a look here. It's got a different type of microphone, no speaker in the mic. But it is, I think, a lot. Well, the RT95 is pretty small. It can fit in your hand as well. FM radio, yeah, okay. Just trying to see what sort of power levels. Oh, here's the GMRS version. This is 20 watts. So I'm pretty sure that the ham radio version is also 20 watts too. But it comes with this little mag antenna as well, though that looks a little bit short for 2 meters, but it probably works on UHF quite well. So, yeah, that's an alternative here to the RT95. I have experience with the RT95 and I like that, but the RA25 is also on special if you're after one of those. Now, the Retevis RA79. This looks very much suspiciously like the Quancheng UV-K5, or at least Retevis's version of this. This was the hackable radio that came out a couple of years ago that you could put custom firmware on and have a bit of a play around with. This is $15.29. I don't think I've ever seen it as cheap before. So they're a good little radio to have a bit of a play around with. They do also have USB-C charging as well. They will do airband, I think, reception. Airband reception was a little bit, it was okay. Here you go. You could see here someone's actually done a video of receiving 10 meters SSB using the hacked modified firmware. So there's a whole heap of stuff that you can do. You can look up this stuff. I've done a whole bunch of videos on the Quancheng and being able to do those. And ever since I did those, there's been a whole bunch of different firmware and other things that you can do with the Quancheng. But yeah, the RA79 essentially is a Quancheng. The AM reception, that's what I was talking about. It was okay-ish. It wasn't the best, but it does do it. You can program it via Chirp or the software that they also provide, FM radio and all those other things, the NOAA alerts. Smaller battery than the HA1UV, the 1400 milliamp hour. It's not waterproof. It's not IP67 or anything like that. But for $15, even if it's like a radio that you throw in like your Go kit or your emergency kit or something, or into your glove compartment of your car, then it's not going to break the bank and you've got a radio to use, in an emergency. So that's a good option. $15 down from $18, but yeah, I think $15 is probably the cheapest I've ever seen this. Now, how to chuck this in here for the DMR enthusiasts? I don't know an awful lot about DMR, and I've never used this Retevis RT3S, but it is on special. It's an $84.69 DMR radio. Supports OpenGD77, which is the main thing. I think that's the gold standard for DMR radios. So the Retevis RT3S here is on special as well for those who are interested in DMR. Here's a couple of Baofangs, basically. RT5R, UV5Rs. These are 2-pack for $42.50. Looks like a couple of speaker mics. I've actually used those Retevis speaker mics before with some of the other handheld radios that I've got from Retevis, and they're quite nice. I actually like the feel of those. But yeah, this is just a UV5R. Don't really need to go into too much detail on these, apart from the fact that, these are tried and tested models of radio. So $42, what's that, $21 each for some UV5Rs, RT5Rs. One radio, though, that I have had experience with is this, the Retevis HS4, Alluance. I keep saying, is it Alluance? Alluance? Alluance. This is a 10-meter radio. It's a channelized version. It can be a little bit funky to play around with and trying to adjust frequencies, but once you sort of learn how it all works and you use the clarifier and all that sort of stuff, then eventually you get to learn how it all works. I did a review on this. I thought that this was actually a fairly good unit. I like the fact that it's got all modes. So it's got CW, AM, FM, and SSB. As I mentioned, it was a little bit funny to sort of play around with, but it had everything in it that I needed. I can't recall if it had CT CSS tones for repeaters in it or not. I think it did. Going back and check my review, I'd have to go back and have a look. But for $200, great little 10-meter radio. 10 meters has been going off the show even in the last couple of days. There's been DX all around the world. So now is the perfect time to get on to 10 meters. Yes, it does have CT CSS. There you go. I do remember now. Programmable through their CPS software. I think it's programmable now in Chirp, but don't hold me to that. Great little radio from Retevis for 10 meters, and there's quite a few different versions of these. It's reasonably big. The microphone is a 4-pin microphone connector on the side, really quite nice feeling as well. So yeah, get involved in 10 meters, especially if you're a technician in the US. You can operate on 10 meters, especially the FM portions and the FM repeaters and all that sort of thing. So 10 meters is a great band to get started on for HF, and this is a great radio for those who want to do that. So I thought this was a great radio. Go back and watch my reviews on it anyway. But $200 for the HS4. Now, a couple of other knickknacks. These are CB radios. So moving on from 10 meters, these are 27 megahertz CB radios. These will do AM and FM. $90. Again, if you don't have an amateur radio license or a technician license or an amateur radio license at all and you want to get on CB to have a bit of a play around, CB is still wide open as well. Similar to the 10 meter band, we're getting worldwide stuff going on, so you can work people on AM. Lots of AM activity still on 27 megs, which is it's probably the most active part of AM on any band that I could think of. And then FM as well. So you can have some crystal clear audio with FM too. So this is the Retevis MB1. This will do the 40-channel CB radio. It's got a antenna that comes with it, powered off a cigarette lighter plug. I wouldn't sort of like to power it off of that, but you might be able to, chop that off and put something else on. $90 for a nice little CB radio for playing around with on 27 megs. And as you can see there, it is absolutely tiny, fits into the palm of your hand. Retevis always make these very, very small radios, and they can fit into all sorts of little locations. You can adjust the backlight color to suit what you want. So, that is CB number 1. There is also another CB that we're going to look at, and that is the MB2. So rather than the MB1, the MB2. This is $46.79. AM, FM, 40 channel again. A little bit different type of look. You don't have that nice looking screen. You've got some LEDs here for all of your different functions. So a little bit different, a little bit more basic than the MB1, but still very usable if you want to get on to CB radio and have a go on that band. I really do encourage you that if you are interested in getting on HF, now's the time to do it. We're in 2025. We're at the solar cycle peak. Conditions are not going to be any better than they are right now. So if you want to get involved, definitely get onto it and do it as soon as you can. A couple more little deals here. This is the Retevis H777. This is a pack of 6. These are FRS radios. These are cool for if you want to give these out to the kids, or if you just want to be able to communicate between vehicles or over very short distances. Don't need a license for them. $76 for a 6-pack. So what's that work out to be, like $12, $13 each? Really simple, easy, cheap to use. And you've got the 6-bay charger as well, so you can also use them for events too. And then there is the TR111. I popped this in here. This is a shortwave radio that's got Bluetooth, AM, FM, other frequencies that you can listen to as well, mainly for the fact that you should have one of these as a emergency radio for being able to listen to broadcasts when there's natural disasters, because I know that I probably end up relying on something like one of my other radios, my little handheld radios, but they don't have AM in them, so I can't listen to the AM stations, which are generally where the most emergency communication comes from, so because of the long distances and everything else. So this is a good deal at about $47 to be able to get something that's small like this, that fits in the palm of your hand, so that you can use that to listen to some of the emergency traffic. It's got lots of other features as well, like a little flashlight. It's got you can operate it from an app. All these other bits and pieces that you can do. So if you're after something that you need for an emergency, then get something like this. There's plenty more deals from Retevis. They are all linked in the description below, so check those out. There was a couple of models that I mentioned in this video. If you want to see my reviews on those, then they will appear here on the screen right now.